The massive alien ships appeared without warning above Earth's major cities. Their hulls were dark purple and covered with strange glowing symbols that hurt human eyes to look at directly. The largest vessel hovered over New York City like a floating mountain, casting shadows that turned day into night across Manhattan. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters, watching the impossible sight on dozens of screens. His weathered face showed no emotion as reports flooded in from around the globe. London, Tokyo, Moscow, and every other major city now had alien warships hanging in their skies like mechanical storm clouds. The communication came at exactly noon, transmitted on every frequency humans had ever used. The voice was deep and filled with contempt, speaking English with perfect clarity. Primitive inhabitants of the third planet, I am Admiral Zekathara of the Corvani hegemony. Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for servitude. You will surrender your planet within 72 hours or face complete annihilation. President Helen Carter rushed into the command center, her security detail struggling to keep up. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes held the steel that had won her 3 elections. Jake, tell me we have options, she said, looking at the screens showing alien ships across the globe. Morrison turned to face her, his expression unreadable. Madam President, we always have options. The question is whether we're ready to use them. He gestured to the screens. Our intelligence suggests they have 12 major warships and about 40 support vessels. Their technology appears advanced, but not impossibly so. General Lisa Brooks entered the room, her uniform crisp despite having been pulled from a family dinner. She nodded to the president before addressing Morrison. The European Defense Fleet is requesting orders. The Asian Alliance wants to know if we're coordinating a response. Everyone's looking to us for guidance. The alien broadcast continued on every channel, interrupting regular programming across the planet. Zekthara's image appeared on screens worldwide. He was tall and thin, with skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed with inner fire. Your military forces are pathetic. Your weapons are primitive. Your divided governments cannot hope to stand against the might of the hegemony. Surrender now and your deaths will be swift. Fleet Commander Ryan Davis stepped forward from where he had been studying tactical displays. He was younger than the other officers, but his record in the Mars Defense War had earned him respect. Sir, we're receiving panic signals from civilian ships across the system. They're requesting permission to evacuate. Morrison nodded slowly. Granted. Let every civilian vessel that wants to leave head for the outer colonies. Make it look convincing. He turned to a communications officer. Put me through to Black Site Command. Priority Alpha clearance. The officer's hands hesitated over the controls. Black Site Command was so classified that most people in the room had never heard of it. Sir, are you certain about the clearance level? Do it, Morrison said quietly. Dr. Alex Chen hurried into the command center, carrying a tablet filled with xenobiological data. He was the planet's leading expert on alien life forms, despite having never met a living alien until today. Admiral, I've analyzed their broadcasts and ship configurations. The Corvani appear to be a conquest species. They've done this before, many times. President Carter studied the tactical displays showing the alien formation. How many times? Doctor? Chen consulted his tablet. Based on their ship designs and cultural references in their broadcasts, I estimate they've conquered at least 30 different worlds. They have a standard procedure. Intimidation, ultimatum, then overwhelming. Force if the target species resists. The alien admiral's voice echoed through the command center again. Your species shows the same pathetic defiance we have seen on dozens of other worlds. You believe your small defensive fleets can challenge our might. You are wrong. We have studied your history. You fight among yourselves like animals. You have no unity, no discipline, no hope. Morrison's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. He walked to the main communication console and activated a secure channel. Black Site Command, this is Admiral Morrison. Authorization Omega 77. Confirm status of Ghost Protocol assets. A voice replied from the secure channel, so heavily. Encrypted, it sounded mechanical. Ghost Protocol assets are in position and awaiting orders, Admiral. All units report ready status. President Carter moved closer to Morrison. Jake, what assets? What's Ghost Protocol? Morrison looked at her with eyes that held secrets accumulated over decades of military service. Madam President, 20 years ago, after we intercepted that first hostile alien probe, certain decisions were made. Resources were allocated. Projects were initiated. General Brooks frowned. I've never heard of any Ghost Protocol in the defense budget. That's because it was never in the defense budget, Morrison replied. It was funded through other means. Black projects, deep space research, asteroid mining operations that weren't mining asteroids. The alien ultimatum continued broadcasting across all frequencies. Zekathara's image appeared on every screen, his voice filled with certainty. Your largest cities are now targeted by our primary weapons. Your orbital installations are defenseless against our superiority. Your pathetic attempts at space-based defenses are laughable. Surrender now or watch your world burn. Morrison activated another secure channel. Colonel Ben Taylor, this is Morrison. Report your status. A different voice responded, young but hardened by something that wasn't clear from the audio alone. Admiral, Black Site Station is fully operational. All Ghost Fleet units have confirmed ready status. We've been monitoring the alien transmissions. Their formations suggest they're preparing for occupation rather than total destruction. President. Carter stepped closer to the communication console. Who is Colonel Taylor? What's Black Site Station? Morrison turned to face her directly. Madam President, Colonel Taylor commands assets that officially don't exist. Black Site Station is an installation that isn't on any star charts. The Ghost Fleet is humanity's answer to exactly this situation. Dr. Chen looked up from his analysis. Admiral, the aliens are moving into occupation formations around our major population centers. Their behavior suggests they expect either immediate surrender or a conventional defensive engagement. They're not prepared for asymmetric warfare. Fleet Commander Davis studied the tactical displays with growing understanding. Sir, if we have assets they don't know about, we could use their confidence against them. Let them think we're exactly what they expect us to be. Morrison nodded. That's precisely the idea, Commander. President Carter, I need your authorization to implement protocols that were established before your administration. Protocols that carry significant risks and moral implications. The President looked around the room at the faces of Earth's military leadership. Outside, alien warships hung in the sky like harbingers of doom. Every screen showed panic in the streets. Families fleeing cities, governments preparing for the worst. What kind of risks, Admiral? Morrison's voice was steady but carried undertones of something darker. The kind that ensure our survival, Madam President, but at a cost that will change what it means to be human. The 72-hour countdown had begun, and Earth appeared to be just another primitive world facing inevitable conquest. But in the shadows between stars, humanity's darkest creation was stirring to life. 20 years earlier, Earth's governments had made a terrible decision. The first alien probe appeared in the outer solar system on a Tuesday morning, broadcasting nothing but scanning everything. It stayed for 6 hours, recording human cities, military installations, and space-based defenses before vanishing into deep space. The probe left behind no trace, except the knowledge that humanity was being watched and evaluated. Colonel Ben Taylor remembered that day clearly. He had been a young lieutenant then, stationed at Luna Base watching long-range sensors track something that shouldn't exist. The probe's technology was centuries ahead of anything humans possessed. Its scanning patterns suggested it was cataloging Earth's defenses, population centers, and resource locations. When it disappeared, everyone knew it would eventually return, with friends. The public never learned about the probe. Official reports claimed it was a meteorite that broke apart before impact. But in classified briefings across the globe, world leaders faced a harsh reality. Humanity was defenseless against advanced alien technology. Traditional military preparations would take centuries to close the technological gap. Something else was needed. Project Shadowfall began 3 months later in a converted asteroid mining facility. The project consumed resources from dozens of black budget programs. Mining equipment became weapon fabrication systems. asteroid processors became ship construction facilities. The official record showed routine mining operations. The reality was far different. Taylor walked through the corridors of Blacksite Station, a massive installation built inside a hollowed-out asteroid. The station was invisible to conventional sensors, hidden in the asteroid belt where thousands of similar rocks provided perfect camouflage. Crews had worked in 12-hour shifts for 2 decades, building something the galaxy had never seen before. The Ghost Fleet existed in the spaces between official records. 100 ships built from materials that didn't appear in any inventory. Crewed by personnel who had volunteered for assignments they knew might never end. These were not exploration vessels or defensive platforms. They were predators designed to hunt and kill with maximum efficiency. Captain Amy Foster stood on the bridge of HMS Reaper, the Ghost Fleet's flagship. She was 38 years old and had spent half her life preparing for a war that might never come. The ship around her was painted in void black, its hull designed to absorb sensor sweeps and visual detection. Every surface was optimized for stealth and lethality. The Reaper was 300 meters long and carried weapons that violated every convention of civilized warfare. Its primary armament could manipulate gravity itself, creating crushing forces that would tear enemy ships apart from the inside. Secondary weapons included nanite swarms that could consume enemy vessels and turn their own hulls into weapons against neighboring ships. Foster reviewed her crew roster on a datapad. Every person aboard had volunteered for Ghost Fleet service, knowing they might never see Earth again. They trained constantly in deep space, practicing attack patterns and combat maneuvers that regular military forces would consider too dangerous to attempt. Lieutenant Commander Gary White served as the Reaper's tactical officer. He was a quiet man who had spent years studying alien probe fragments recovered from deep space. His analysis of alien technology had helped design weapons specifically meant to counter advanced defensive systems. The Ghost Fleet's training ground was a region of space officially designated as a hazardous debris field. Navigation charts warned civilian ships to avoid the area due to unstable asteroid conditions. In reality, the debris field contained mock alien vessels built from recovered probe technology and theoretical alien ship designs. Colonel Taylor received daily reports from Ghost Fleet squadrons scattered throughout the outer solar system. Each unit was positioned to attack from a different vector, ensuring that any alien invasion force would face attacks from multiple directions simultaneously. The squadrons had been practicing coordinated assault patterns for years. Major Dan Clark commanded Ghost Squadron 7, 12 stealth bombers equipped with experimental weapon systems. His ships were designed to deliver nanite payloads that could infiltrate enemy vessels and turn their own systems against them. The nanites were programmed to spread through enemy fleets like a virus, consuming and converting everything they encountered. The Ghost Fleet personnel lived in a world separate from regular humanity. They trained in facilities that didn't officially exist, using weapons that no government would publicly acknowledge. Their families believed they were involved in long-term deep space exploration missions. The psychological cost of this deception was considered acceptable for the security it provided. Dr. Patricia White worked in the Psychological Warfare Division of Blacksite Station. She had spent 20 years developing methods to break alien-oid minds, studying captured probe data to understand how non-human psychology might respond to specific stimuli. Her work focused on creating fear responses that would spread panic through enemy forces. The Ghost Fleet's ships carried experimental technology that pushed the boundaries of human engineering. Gravity manipulation systems could create artificial black holes or reverse the effects of planetary gravity. Quantum communication arrays allowed instant coordination across vast distances. Stealth systems made the ships invisible to sensors, while weapons were designed to destroy enemies before they could respond. Captain Foster walked through the Reaper's weapon bays, inspecting systems that most humans would find horrifying. The nanite storage chambers contained billions of microscopic machines programmed to consume and convert enemy materials. The gravity bomb storage area held devices that could destabilize entire star systems if necessary. The Ghost Fleet crews had trained for scenarios that regular military forces never considered, boarding actions using powered armor that made humans appear demonic to alien sensors. psychological warfare broadcasts designed to drive enemy crews insane, weapons that could turn a planet's atmosphere toxic or cause stars to become unstable. Commander Julie Adams piloted a ship designated as Deep Strike Vessel 17. Her vessel looked like a civilian transport from the outside, but contained weapons capable of destabilizing stellar coronas. She had practiced using solar flares as artillery shells, turning stars themselves into weapons against enemy fleets. The Ghost Fleet existed because humanity's leaders had made a choice 20 years earlier. They decided that survival was worth any cost, including the cost of their own humanity. The project consumed enormous resources and required thousands of people to live double lives, but it ensured that Earth would never be defenseless against alien invasion. Taylor stood in Blacksite, station's command center, surrounded by displays showing Ghost Fleet positions throughout the solar system. Each ship was invisible to conventional sensors, waiting for orders that would unleash humanity's darkest creation upon an unsuspecting galaxy. The alien ultimatum had triggered protocols established decades earlier. The Ghost Fleet was ready to reveal what humanity became when faced with extinction. Admiral Morrison stood before the cameras in Earth Defense Headquarters, preparing to deliver the most important performance of his life. Behind him, displays showed the alien fleet hovering over major cities while panic gripped the planet. His uniform was perfectly pressed, his expression carefully crafted to show defeat mixed with desperate hope for mercy. The broadcast would reach every human settlement and every alien ship simultaneously. Morrison had rehearsed these words for years, knowing that one day Earth's survival might depend on how convincing his surrender appeared. He took a deep breath and began speaking to the galaxy. This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force, speaking on behalf of all humanity. We have reviewed your ultimatum and the overwhelming power of your fleet. Earth's governments have voted unanimously to accept your terms. We surrender unconditionally and request mercy for our population. President Carter sat in the secure briefing room watching Morrison's performance on multiple screens. The president's own role in this deception weighed heavily on her conscience, but she understood the necessity. Every word had been planned, every gesture designed to convince the aliens that humanity was exactly what they expected to find. The alien response came within minutes. Admiral Zekthar's image appeared on screens throughout human space, his stone-like features showing satisfaction at humanity's predictable weakness. Your surrender is accepted, humans. Our forces will now occupy your system and begin the process of planetary reorganization. Resistance will result in immediate destruction. Commander Steve Rogers played his part perfectly from the bridge of the defensive cruiser Defender. His ship was one of 12 vessels representing Earth's visible military strength, positioned in obviously defensive formations around Earth. All Earth defense vessels stand down weapons and assume non-threatening postures. Repeat, all units, stand down. The Corvani fleet began moving into the solar system with the confidence of conquerors who had performed this dance many times before. Their largest vessels took positions over Earth's major cities, while support ships moved to secure the outer planets and asteroid mining facilities. Their formation was perfect for occupation, but terrible for combat readiness. Dr. Patricia White monitored alien communications from her hidden station on Blacksite, analyzing every transmission for psychological insights. The Corvani were broadcasting their victory celebrations to their home worlds, describing humanity as another weak species that had collapsed at the first sign of superior force. Their arrogance was exactly what humanity needed. The alien ships spread throughout the solar system like a net designed to catch fleeing prey. 3 heavy cruisers positioned themselves near Mars to intercept any human ships attempting to escape to the outer colonies. 2 battleships took station near Jupiter to control the asteroid belt. The remainder of their fleet assumed orbit around Earth in a formation that maximized their ability to threaten civilian populations. Captain Amy Foster watched the alien deployment from the bridge of HMS Reaper, hidden in the shadow of a large asteroid. Her ship's stealth systems made it invisible to conventional sensors while her crew monitored every alien movement. The Corvani were positioning themselves exactly where Earth strategists had hoped they would. The performance continued across human space as colonies broadcast surrender messages and defensive installations powered down their weapons. Every transmission was carefully crafted to reinforce the illusion of a broken species accepting inevitable defeat. Panic-stricken civilian ships fled toward the outer system in apparent terror, their flight paths secretly coordinated to draw alien attention away from crucial areas. Admiral Zekthara established his command post aboard the massive battleship Dominion, positioned directly over North America. From his bridge, he could observe the pathetic human cities below while coordinating the occupation of their primitive world. His tactical displays showed complete control of human space within hours of their surrender. Fleet Commander Ryan Davis coordinated the deception from a hidden command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. His role was to ensure that every aspect of humanity's surrender appeared genuine, while secretly positioning the Ghost Fleet for maximum tactical advantage. Communication arrays disguised as civilian broadcasts kept him in contact with hidden assets throughout the system. The Corvani sent boarding parties to secure key human installations, expecting to find cowering populations ready for processing into slave labor. What they discovered instead were facilities that appeared completely abandoned, with essential personnel having fled in panic. The aliens interpreted this as further evidence of human weakness and cowardice. Colonel Ben Taylor received constant updates on alien positions from sensors hidden throughout the asteroid belt. The Corvani ships were spreading themselves thin, confident that human resistance was already broken. Their arrogance was creating exactly the tactical situation that humanity had spent 20 years preparing to exploit. Major Dan Clark's stealth bomber squadron moved silently through the outer system, using the chaos of fleeing civilian ships as cover for their approach toward the main alien fleet. His ships were invisible to Corvani sensors, appearing on alien screens as nothing more than space debris or small civilian craft. Dr. Alex Chen provided continuous analysis of alien behavior, patterns from his hidden laboratory. The Corvani were following standard occupation procedures that had worked on dozens of other worlds. They expected human leadership to collaborate in exchange for preferential treatment, human military forces to integrate into their command structure, and human populations to accept their new status as conquered subjects. The deception required thousands of people to play their roles perfectly. Civilian leaders broadcast pleas for cooperation with the occupying forces, while secretly coordinating with military planners. Military officers appeared defeated while maintaining hidden communication with Ghost Fleet units. Even ordinary citizens contributed by fleeing in patterns that supported the overall strategic deception. Commander Julie Adams positioned her disguised attack vessel near the Corvani flagship, her ship's hull configured to appear as a damaged civilian transport. Alien sensors detected her vessel but classified it as harmless debris from the human evacuation. She waited patiently while enemy ships moved into their final positions. President Carter appeared before cameras once more, this time as a defeated leader pleading with her people to accept alien rule peacefully. Her performance was masterful, showing exactly the right mixture of desperation and false hope that would convince the Corvani that human resistance was completely broken. The 72 hours passed with humanity appearing to collapse exactly as the aliens expected. The Corvani fleet settled into occupation positions throughout the solar system, their ships scattered to maximize control over human populations and resources. Admiral Zekthara prepared to broadcast final victory messages to the Corvani homeworlds. But in the darkness between worlds, the Ghost Fleet had spent those same 72 hours moving into attack positions that would turn the solar system into a killing field. The trap was set and the prey had taken the bait perfectly. Admiral Morrison sat in his command chair, watching the final alien ships settle into their occupation positions across the solar system. The Corvani fleet was spread perfectly thin, their vessels positioned to control human populations rather than defend against attack. He activated the encrypted communication system that would trigger humanity's real response to the alien ultimatum. All Ghost Fleet units, this is Morrison. Authorization code Wolfhunter 77. The wolves are hungry. I repeat, the wolves are hungry. Execute Ghost Protocol immediately. The response came from Captain Amy Foster aboard HMS Reaper, her voice calm despite the magnitude of what was about to begin. Ghost Fleet acknowledges. All units report ready status. Beginning attack run in 30 seconds. The first strike came from the asteroid belt, where HMS Reaper had been hiding in the shadow of a mining platform. Foster's ship emerged from stealth like a nightmare, materializing from empty space. The Corvani sensors detected the massive vessel for exactly 3 seconds before its gravity weapons tore their nearest cruiser apart. The alien ship didn't just explode. The gravity manipulators created a localized field that crushed the vessel's hull inward, while simultaneously pulling it in different directions. Metal screamed as the ship folded in on itself before breaking apart in a shower of twisted debris that scattered across thousands of kilometers of space. Admiral Zekathera stared at his tactical displays in complete shock. One moment, his sensors showed empty space around the mining platform. The next moment, a massive human warship was destroying his forces with weapons that shouldn't exist. His communications officer struggled to understand how something so large could have remained invisible. Major Dan Clark's stealth bomber squadron struck the Corvani command vessel simultaneously. His ships had been drifting slowly toward the alien flagship for hours, disguised as evacuation debris. When Morrison gave the signal, 12 bombers revealed themselves and released their nanite payloads directly into the enemy ship's hull. The nanites were microscopic machines designed to consume and convert alien technology. They ate through the Dominion's armor plating in seconds, spreading throughout the ship's internal systems like a technological plague. Corridor walls began dissolving as the nanites converted alien metal into more nanites, creating a chain reaction that consumed the ship from within. Corvani crew members watched in terror as their own ship began eating itself. Bulkheads melted away, revealing passages filled with swirling clouds of hungry machines. Emergency systems failed as the nanites consumed power conduits and control systems. The great battleship that had conquered dozens of worlds was being devoured by microscopic predators. Ghost Fleet units emerged from hiding places throughout the solar system. Captain Foster's attack had been the signal for a coordinated assault that struck the scattered Corvani forces from every direction simultaneously. Ships that had appeared as asteroids revealed themselves as camouflaged warships, vessels disguised as civilian transports dropped their false hulls and unleashed experimental weapons. Commander Julie Adams attacked from her position near Earth's moon. Her ship had appeared to be a damaged civilian transport for the past 3 days, drifting helplessly while broadcasting distress signals. When the Ghost Protocol activated, she dropped the deception and fired solar manipulation devices at the Corvani ships in Earth orbit. The weapons didn't destroy the alien vessels directly. Instead, they created artificial solar flares that turned Earth-Sun into a weapon. Streams of superheated plasma reached across space like the fingers of an angry god, striking alien ships with temperatures that melted their hulls instantly. 3 Corvani cruisers vaporized in brilliant flashes that lit up the night sky on Earth's surface. The psychological warfare broadcasts began immediately. Dr. Patricia White had spent years developing audio patterns that would drive alien minds toward panic and madness. The Ghost Fleet transmitted these signals on every frequency the Corvani used, filling their communications with sounds designed to break their sanity. Alien crew members began reporting hallucinations and paranoid delusions. As the psychological attacks took effect, some believed their own ships were hunting them. Others became convinced that the human nanites were inside their bodies, eating them from within. Command structure collapsed as officers lost their ability to think rationally. Colonel Ben Taylor coordinated the assault from Blacksite Station, watching tactical displays that showed the systematic destruction of an entire alien invasion fleet. The Corvani had expected to face primitive human weapons and desperate defensive actions. Instead, they encountered technology that seemed designed specifically to counter their advantages. Ghost Fleet boarding parties struck ships that survived the initial weapons barrage. These weren't ordinary human soldiers. They wore powered armor that made them appear demonic to alien sensors. Their weapons fired rounds that could penetrate any known armor. Their tactics were designed to create maximum terror among enemy survivors. The boarding teams moved through alien ships like unstoppable nightmares. Their armor absorbed enemy weapons fire while their own attacks destroyed everything they encountered. They used fear as a weapon, broadcasting terrifying sounds and images that broke the will of defending aliens before any fighting began. Admiral Zekathera tried desperately to coordinate a retreat as his fleet died around him. The humans had somehow hidden an entire military force that was more advanced than anything in Corvani records. Their weapons violated the basic principles of civilized warfare. Their tactics showed an understanding of psychological manipulation that bordered on evil. The few Corvani ships that attempted to flee found their escape routes blocked by more Ghost Fleet units. Humanity had positioned their hidden vessels to create a perfect trap. Every direction led to more human ships equipped with weapons that turned space itself into a killing field. Commander Steve Rogers maintained his role even as the battle raged around Earth. His defensive ships continued broadcasting surrender messages while secret weapons platforms emerged from hidden positions throughout the inner system. The deception continued even as the Ghost Fleet revealed the true extent of human military capability. Within 6 hours, the Corvani invasion fleet was completely destroyed. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds became scattered debris fields drifting through human space. The few surviving aliens found themselves aboard vessels that were dissolving around them as nanites continued their destructive work. The last transmission from Admiral Zekathera reached his homeworld before his flagship finally succumbed to the nanite infection. His final words would become humanity's calling card across the galaxy. They are not what we thought. They are not primitives. They are something far worse. Do not come to their world. Captain Amy Foster stood on the bridge of HMS Reaper, watching the last pieces of alien debris drift silently through space. The Corvani invasion fleet had been completely destroyed in less than 8 hours. Not a single enemy vessel remained intact. The solar system that had seemed defenseless that morning was now a graveyard for an entire alien armada. The Ghost Fleet had accomplished its mission perfectly, but the cost was visible on every face aboard the dark ships. Foster looked around, her bridge at crew members who had spent 20 years preparing for this moment. They had become something beyond human during their long exile in deep space. The battle had revealed what they truly were underneath their human appearance. Admiral Morrison's voice crackled over the communication system from Earth Defense Headquarters. All Ghost Fleet units, report status. I need casualty reports and damage assessments from every vessel. Foster activated her response channel. HMS Reaper reporting. We lost 18 crew members during the boarding actions. The gravity manipulation systems are operating at 60% capacity. Ship remains combat effective but will require extensive repairs. Similar reports came from Ghost Fleet vessels throughout the system. Major Dan Clark's bomber squadron had lost 4 ships to alien weapons fire during their nanite attack runs. Commander Julie Adams reported severe damage to her solar manipulation arrays after using them to weaponize Earth's sun. The human victory had not been without cost. The debris fields told the story of technologies that should never have been created. Alien ship fragments showed signs of impossible weapons effects. Metal twisted by gravity manipulation, hull sections, consumed by nanite swarms that had converted enemy vessels into clouds of microscopic machines, evidence of solar plasma strikes that had vaporized entire ships instantly. Dr. Patricia White monitored alien communication frequencies from her station on Blacksite, listening to the terrified broadcasts spreading across the galaxy. Survivors from the Corvani homeworlds had detected the final transmissions from Admiral Zekathera's fleet. The news of humanity's true nature was already racing through space at faster than light speeds. The psychological impact of the battle would reach far beyond the destroyed invasion fleet. Other alien civilizations were receiving detailed reports of weapons that violated their understanding of warfare. Gravity bombs that could destabilize planets. Nanite swarms that could consume entire fleets. Technology that turned stars themselves into artillery weapons. President Helen Carter called an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council to address the revelation of Project Shadowfall. World leaders who had authorized the program 20 years earlier now faced the reality of what they had created. Earth possessed military capabilities that made them the most feared species in known space. Colonel Ben Taylor received orders to begin the Ghost Fleet's return to official existence. Ships that had hidden in darkness for 2 decades would now patrol openly through human space. The secret was over. Earth's enemies and allies alike would know that humanity possessed weapons capable of destroying entire star systems. The political implications were staggering. Earth's colonies had watched their homeworld apparently surrender without resistance, only to witness the complete annihilation of an advanced alien fleet hours later. Questions arose about what other secrets Earth's governments had been keeping from their own people. Fleet Commander Ryan Davis coordinated the cleanup operation that would remove all traces of alien technology from the solar system. The debris fields contained advanced materials that could revolutionize human science, but they also represented evidence of humanity's new reputation as a species capable of unprecedented destruction. Captain Foster walked through the corridors of HMS Reaper, observing crew members who had lived outside normal human society for 20 years. They had become predators adapted to the darkness between stars. Their ship was their only home. Their mission had been their only purpose. Now that the mission was complete, they faced an uncertain future. The crew of the Ghost Fleet could never return to normal human society. They had seen and done things that would horrify ordinary citizens. Their knowledge of humanity's darkest military capabilities made them security risks too dangerous to integrate into civilian populations. They would remain in space, guardians of secrets too terrible to share. Admiral Morrison addressed the planet. In a broadcast that revealed the existence of Project Shadowfall to Earth's population, citizens who had lived in terror of alien invasion for 3 days learned that their world possessed defensive capabilities beyond imagination. The revelation sparked celebrations mixed with horror at what humanity had become. Dr. Alex Chen analyzed the tactical recordings from the battle, studying how human weapons had performed against alien technology. His reports would influence the next generation of military development, ensuring that Earth remained capable of defending itself against any threat the galaxy might produce. The economic impact of the revelation transformed Earth's relationship with its colonies. Worlds that had considered declaring independence from Earth's authority quickly reconsidered their positions. No one wanted to oppose a species capable of weaponizing stars and consuming enemy fleets with microscopic machines. Alien civilizations throughout the galaxy began redirecting their expansion plans away from human space. Species that had been preparing their own invasion fleets suddenly found other regions of space more attractive for colonization. The word spread that humans were not prey, but apex predators hiding their true nature. Captain Foster received new orders from Earth Defense Command. The Ghost Fleet would establish patrol routes through the outer reaches of human territory, serving as a visible reminder to any species considering aggression against Earth. Their ships would no longer hide, but would patrol openly as deterrents. The moral cost of Earth's victory became clear in the weeks following the battle. Humanity had saved itself by becoming monsters. The weapons they had created could destroy entire worlds. The tactics they had developed would terrify any civilized species. They had won by abandoning the principles that made them human. President Carter delivered a final address to Earth citizens, explaining that humanity's survival had required sacrifices that previous generations could never have imagined. The Ghost Fleet represented both Earth's greatest achievement and its darkest shame. They were protectors and predators simultaneously. Commander Julie Adams stood on the observation deck of her ship, looking out at stars that now seemed different somehow. The galaxy knew what humanity was capable of when threatened with extinction. Other species would think twice before demanding Earth's surrender. The message had been delivered with overwhelming force. The Ghost Fleet disappeared back into the darkness between stars, taking with them the knowledge of what humanity could become when survival was at stake. They would wait in the shadows, ready to emerge again if Earth ever faced another existential threat. The galaxy had learned that demanding humanity's surrender meant facing their darkest creation, and no species wanted to make that mistake twice.